Good morning, I'm Craig Negrelli. It's Wednesday, February 12th, 2025, and these are your unbiased updates. Elon goes to the White House. What's next for Musk's Department of Government Efficiency as the shrinking of the federal government continues? And Americans battling winter storms. Severe weather expected to hit the Midwest with half a foot of snow today. Places like Virginia and Washington up the Mid-Atlantic also getting belted by snow. Ice along the I-81 corridor and heavy rain in fire-weary Southern California.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world, these are today's Unbiased Updates.
President Donald Trump has given Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, more power to reshape the federal government. With Musk on hand in the Oval Office, the president signed an executive order directing federal agencies to coordinate and consult with DOGE to cut jobs and limit hiring. According to a summary released by the White House, each agency will be ordered to, quote, undertake plans for large-scale reductions in force, end quote, and limit hiring to only essential positions.
What we're talking about here, we're really just talking about adding common sense controls that should be present, that haven't been present.
And what we're trying to do is reduce government. We have too many people. We have office space. It's occupied by 4%. Nobody's showing up to work because they were told not to. And then Biden gave them a 5-year pass, some of them, 48,000 of them, gave them a 5-year pass, that for 5 years you don't have to show up to work.
The move comes as DOGE is already facing various lawsuits from labor unions and Democratic state attorneys over moves to slash the federal workforce and cut government spending, as well as force employees who are working remote back to the office. A federal judge has ordered the Trump administration to restore U.S. health agencies' websites, abruptly taken offline in response to an executive order telling them to scrub the websites of, quote, gender ideology extremism. The temporary restraining order comes in response to a lawsuit by the medical advocacy group Doctors for America, which said the sudden removal of websites by the CDC and FDA hampered doctors' and researchers' ability to fight disease. The pages that are now set to be revived include information for patients about HIV testing, HIV prevention medication, guidance on contraceptives, data that shows vulnerability to natural disasters and emergencies, and an action plan for improving enrollment of underrepresented populations in clinical trials. This morning, concerns over whether the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas in Gaza will hold are growing after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said it will be terminated if Hamas does not return Israeli hostages by Saturday afternoon. Hamas was set to release 3 Israeli hostages being held in Gaza in exchange for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners this Saturday, but announced this week their release would be delayed if Israel does not, quote, fulfill its obligations, accusing the country of violating the terms of the ceasefire agreement. Netanyahu is now demanding all 9 living Israeli hostages who were supposed to be released during Phase 1 of the ceasefire deal be released in the next few days, or fighting will resume in the decimated Gaza Strip. The new demand comes after President Trump warned all hell is going to break out unless Hamas releases all remaining hostages from Gaza by Saturday. Netanyahu did not specify whether he was demanding the release of all 76 remaining hostages or just the 3 to be freed on Saturday. Meantime, Jordan's King Abdullah II weighed in again on President Trump's plan to permanently relocate Palestinians from Gaza. Last week, the president expressed interest in a United States takeover of the enclave, saying he would redevelop the area, gut it and reduce to rubble by war, and turn it into, quote, the Riviera of the Middle East. Part of that plan would include permanently relocating Palestinians, with Donald Trump saying that Egypt and Jordan should take in the refugees. There are roughly 2 million. Before the meeting with Abdullah, President Trump had threatened to withhold U.S. aid to Jordan if the country does not take them in. Despite Abdullah's immediate dismissal of the proposal last week, he did make some concessions during yesterday's meeting at the White House.
I think one of the things that we can do right away is take 2,000 children that are either cancer children or in very ill state to Jordan as quickly as possible, and then wait for, I think, the Egyptians to present their plan on how we can work with the president to work on the Gaza challenges.
After the meeting, Abdullah posted on social media that the unified Arab position is that rebuilding Gaza without displacing the Palestinians and addressing the dire humanitarian situation should be the priority for all. He added that he believes Trump is somebody who can bring stability, peace, and prosperity to the region. President Trump reiterated yesterday he's 99% sure the U.S. will work out an agreement with Egypt to offer permanent refuge to the displaced Palestinians. Right now, millions of Americans are bracing as two winter storms bring snow, freezing rain, and Arctic cold across the country. More than 26 million people from Missouri to West Virginia are facing winter weather advisories. Warnings of light snow, travel hazards, and slick roadways are up, while alerts focused on the Central Plains, the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and the Mid-Atlantic include winter storm warnings, winter storm watches, and extreme cold, as well as freeze warnings. 3 to 6 inches of snow are expected in Chicago, about 5 inches in Omaha, where schools and government buildings are closed for the day. St. Louis is also bracing for a wintry mix with freezing rain as well as snow, 1 to 4 inches of snow there. And yet another storm to talk about. A low-pressure system is spinning in the Pacific. It is forecast to drop precipitation from Hawaii into California. Flooding, mudslides, and debris flows are possible in the fire-ravaged Los Angeles area, where too much rain too fast could lead to even more disasters. Forecasters are expecting nearly 2 inches of rain between today and Friday. Finally this morning, NASA says 2 astronauts who have been stuck in space months longer than they were supposed to be will hopefully be coming back a bit sooner than the agency had expected. NASA says it has been able to adjust its schedule to bring astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams back to Earth as early as March 12th, a couple weeks sooner than previously announced. Wilmore and Williams have been stranded on board the International Space Station since June. What was supposed to be a 10-day trip turned into an indefinite stay after the Boeing Starliner capsule was deemed too unsafe to bring them home. The empty capsule returned to Earth in September, and NASA announced SpaceX would retrieve the astronauts on its next mission, which was originally scheduled for this month. But that plan got pushed back after NASA said in December that mission teams needed more time to complete processing on the SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule that the astronauts will travel home in. But now NASA says it is switching the capsule that will be used for the next set of astronauts to be flown to the space station, which has the ripple effect of pushing up the date Wilmore and Williams can make their return home. That is really good news. Finally, some optimism for those astronauts stranded in space, as well as their families back here on Earth. Those are your unbiased updates for this Wednesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a great day.